5 minutes and counting.
There's been another mass shooting in America. This time in a
drug that is stronger than heroin but is legal in most states is circulating right here in Oklahoma. Fox 23's Jenny Young is live with the number of people it's killed in Oklahoma and the reason that it's not illegal here.
Ron, law enforcement says it's too easy for people to buy Pink, this drug, online. In fact, it's so easy. I got online, typed a few words into Google, and a website took me directly to a dealer. Of course, that was for research purposes only. But law enforcement says that it is a number of people across the nation are overdosing on Pink. 2 right here in Oklahoma, 1 in Edmond and 1 in Norman. And we learned that users take Pink by itself or mix it with other drugs in the forms of pills, powders, or mist. It was part of a mixture of drugs found in the singer Prince's system when he died earlier this year. And experts say that it's so rampant because it's easy to access and inexpensive. Now, it's stronger than morphine and 8 times stronger than heroin. Here's one of the reasons OSBI says it's not illegal yet in Oklahoma.
This is a new form of a synthetic opiate, and the laws cannot keep up with these new forms that are coming out.
We know that DEA took steps this year to ban it nationally by saying they intend to temporarily classify it as a Schedule I drug under the Federal Controlled Substance Act. And of course, OSBI is warning parents and kids about the drug.
Army officials said 10 soldiers have formally asked to be recognized as their new preferred gender. This news comes within weeks of the Pentagon allowing transgender service members to serve openly. The small number represents only those who have publicly said they are transgender. It doesn't include soldiers who are considering or beginning gender transition. The Pentagon's new policy took effect on October 1st, and the Army Secretary approved the service's new transgender guidelines earlier this month. The Army Chief of Staff said the key now is to educate the force, especially commanders who will have to make decisions about soldiers in their units who request gender changes.
For the LGBT Outreach Center, it's just another Halloween party. But to Kanoki McOrison,
hello, people.
It means so much more.
It means everything to me.
McOrison has lived in Madison for just under 3 years, but he already knows Madison will forever be home.
Either here for the rest of my life, or if I go anywhere else, definitely this will be home to where I come back to.
The Human Rights Campaign's Municipal Equality Index gave Madison a top score of 100 for LGBT inclusiveness. 506 cities were included in the report. Only 60 of those cities received a score of 100.
Non-discrimination laws, we got 30 out of 30.
The city, county, and state have laws protecting employment, housing, and public accommodations, which adds to the score.
An LGBT person can't be fired for being LGBT.
30 out of the 50 states in the U.S. do not have gay rights protection laws. Another reason 446 cities in the report did not receive a score of 100.
It's possible for somebody to get married, have the announcement in the paper that this gay couple got married, and then have their employer the next week say you're fired for being gay, and that's totally legal.
Something McOrison is quite aware of. And another reason, he's staying put.
I was out before I came to Madison, but it was much more difficult anywhere else I've lived.
It seems like more of a trick than a treat. This Halloween, some kids in Newington won't be able to take part in school Halloween parties or parades.
That's because 2 schools have just canceled all of the Halloween celebrations. News 8's Bob Wilson live tonight in Newington with reaction from students and parents. Bob, how is this going over?
You know, not very well. As a matter of fact, some people even said the Grinch came early to Halloween. I know that's not the right holiday, but a lot of people very upset about this because they say now the kids have to leave the costumes at home.
What are you going to be for Halloween?
A witch.
But she will have to leave her hat and broom at home. This year there will be no dressing up or celebrating Halloween at the Ruth Chafee Elementary School in Newington.
My mom told me.
What did you think when you found out you can't celebrate Halloween?
That it was just stupid and weird because they shouldn't take it away from other people.
She's disappointed. Very disappointed. You know, because she's been doing it all the way up till this year, and now they're not doing it anymore.
Now, not only are they canceling Halloween celebrations here at the Ruth Chafee Elementary School, but also at the Anna Reynolds Elementary School across town. The principals got together, a letter went home to parents saying, since not everyone celebrates Halloween, it'll be canceled this year.
I think it's stupid. It's not fair for the kids. And I mean, if some people don't want to participate, then don't participate, but they shouldn't take it away from all the kids.
James isn't letting it stop Halloween from coming to his house. He lives just up the street from the elementary school, and he's gone all out. He says he has 2 daughters who love to dress up.
School's got to do what they have to do. You know, it's out of my hands.
A Georgia teenager wakes up from a coma after surviving a life-threatening head injury. But imagine his parents' surprise when all he could speak was Spanish. The 16-year-old was kicked in the head playing soccer. He's a goalie. He came out of a 3-day coma, and they were very worried that he would not be able to survive this injury. It's his 3rd concussion. But he's an English-speaking young man, and when he came out of the coma, he could speak fluent Spanish, a language that he couldn't speak before. He's still recovering from the injury, and his ability to speak Spanish is slowly returning, and now to speak English is returning, but the Spanish is starting to recede in his brain.
That's interesting.
What do you think about that?
Maybe we should talk to him now.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
I mean, all those things that are, they say you use, what, about 1/3 of your brain?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of other languages back in there, apparently.
Remarkable stuff.
The mystery behind the Bermuda Triangle might be solved. At least that's what a Science Channel show claims. The Bermuda Triangle is an area in the Atlantic Ocean between Bermuda, Florida, and Puerto Rico that's famous for unexplained disappearances of ships and planes. And according to 2 meteorologists who spoke to the Science Channel for an episode of What on Earth, the mystery of the waters could be connected to some oddly shaped clouds. Those meteorologists looked at satellite photos of the Bermuda Triangle and found hexagon-shaped clouds right above the area. The pair theorizes that the clouds above the triangle might be causing, quote, air bombs or microbursts that could force powerful winds downward and cause massive waves. But there are a couple of holes in their theory. First, this weather pattern doesn't just happen in this area. These kinds of cloud formations reportedly happen in a lot of mid to high latitude locations, typically in colder seasons. Also, those clouds might not actually be causing air bombs. An NBC meteorologist says those formations don't look like microbursts.
Scientists from around the world are trying to unearth the secrets of the Great Pyramids of Giza. The latest team of researchers believe they've discovered 2 previously unknown cavities within the Khufu pyramid using technology called Scan Pyramid.
The idea of Scan Pyramid is to measure the temperature. They got the modern technology. They measure the temperature of the blocks around the pyramid. And as they were doing this, on the eastern side of the pyramid, they discovered 4 blocks that totally have a different degrees. It's 5 degrees less. So, of course, it got the interest of everyone. First of all, it's on the eastern side. Second, it indicates that there might be over here a tunnel, a passage, a corridor, an entrance.
The discovery has excited archaeologists and historians around the world. But Egypt's Ministry of Antiquities has warned them not to get carried away.
It's still the research phase. Using X-ray-like thermoradars, they have detected small cavities behind the eastern wall of the pyramid. We are continuing our research, but it's too early to jump into conclusions.
The Scan Pyramids project was unveiled earlier this year. It uses various technologies, including thermography and 3D simulation, to scan the structure. The Khufu pyramid was built in around 2560 BC. As a tomb for the Egyptian pharaoh Khufu. Experts say this breakthrough could open the door for major discoveries.
If we find a passage or a corridor that leads probably to holes or rooms, possible treasure rooms, a possible burial chamber, possible new lane of finding things, we're very close to finding something and it will rock the world.
The government says it will need at least another year to gather more data to analyze the information. But historians hope it could unravel yet another mystery hidden in the Great Pyramids of Giza.
We're going to bring in ABC's Matt Dowd now to break down our latest ABC News poll, and down the stretch they come. We've been talking about Hillary Clinton opening up that lead. Enthusiasm for her is also growing.
Yeah, as we've talked about, the thing to focus on is not the undecided voters, it's the enthusiasm of supporters. And for 6 months, Donald Trump had a gain on that, had a margin of victory on that. And now Hillary Clinton has taken a slight lead on enthusiasm of voters. And when you're looking at the last 15 days, that's what matters most.
Is it partly because of Donald Trump taking the stance about the election being rigged? That doesn't seem to be playing well with voters.
I think it's a combination of things. I think it's that. I think it's Donald Trump's not talking to a broader group of voters. And I think that Hillary Clinton winning 3 debates, one after another, helps her supporters get more engaged.
So what is her strategy right now? We talked about this last week about when you go into a prevent defense, what happens. So what should she do?
Well, I think she has to be careful from crossing the line between confidence to cockiness, and she can't get to cockiness. If she maintains a series of events every day until Election Day from now and then, her staff keeps it up, which I'm sure they will. In the end, many times voters get more enthusiastic if they think you're going to win. So as she looks like she has a lead in the polls, which I think is around 6 or 7, not 12, I think it's more like 6 or 7, that actually helps among her voters to get more enthusiastic.
And what would Donald Trump have to do to turn things around?
Prayer. I mean, I think it's a very difficult prospect. After his sort of weekend of airing his grievances, he needs to be a little bit like Kramer and Seinfeld and hope for a Festivus miracle.
But Matt, in contrast to what John Carl was just saying, yes, it's possible this could break into a huge wave for Hillary Clinton. But most times when candidates have a lead of this size 2 weeks out, it tends to close up towards the end.
Yeah, my expectation is on Election Day, this is going to be about a 5 or a 6 point race. That is solid, but it's close. But in a polarized environment like this, we can keep in mind that Barack Obama won overwhelmingly in 2008, but he won by 7 points. I think it's probably around that.
Clashes have erupted on the fringes of the Calais migrant camp before a forced evacuation begins on Monday. A mix of migrants and militants burned portable toilets and threw stones at police, who responded with tear gas. French authorities plan to close the jungle camp with the first mass evacuation scheduled for Monday morning. At least 6,500 migrants, mainly from troubled parts of Africa and the Middle East, live in the camp. They will be moved to temporary shelters and processed for asylum in France. But many hope for a better life in Britain, a few miles away across the English Channel. Over 1,200 police officers have been drafted in to secure the evacuation. At least 150 militants from the anti-globalization No Borders group are also known to be present in the area.
Multiple blasts in the Japanese city of Utsunomiya have left at least 1 person dead and 3 others injured. The cause of the explosions, which are said to have taken place almost simultaneously, is currently unclear. Images showed several burned out cars and a building near one of the blast sites. Utsunomiya lies around 100 kilometers north of Japan's capital, Tokyo. Police are said to be investigating whether the incidents are linked. This man said there was such a strong shockwave. It doesn't compare with the explosion of gas canisters. After the first bang, there were much bigger explosions. The burned body of a man was also reportedly found in a nearby park where a folk festival was underway. The force of that blast ripping apart a bench.
On October 21st, ISIS militants launched a raid in the city of Kirkuk. The city was where coalition and Iraqi forces had just launched the biggest operation yet in the fight against ISIS. As the terrorist group began losing wide swaths of territory, they started focusing on the more vulnerable city far from the main battles. Militants struck into the city and unleashed 3 days of violence on the people of Kirkuk. They killed dozens, with one faction making their way to a series of university dorms for Christian students.
An eruption of anger at a migrant camp in Greece. Protesters denouncing delays in dealing with their asylum claims have set fire to facilities used by the European Asylum Support Office on the island of Lesbos. About 70 people, most from Pakistan and Bangladesh, threw rocks and burning blankets at containers inside the Moria camp, damaging a number of them. No injuries were reported, but several arrests were made. Unrest has broken out before among asylum seekers, with more than 15,000 living in overcrowded camps on Greek islands close to Turkey, with which the EU has struck a deal to stem the flow. To avoid being sent back to Turkey under that accord, many migrants have claimed asylum in Greece, but they wait for weeks or months for their applications to be processed on a case-by-case basis.
Tonight, health and safety officials continue their investigation into that chemical spill that took place in Atchison at MGP Ingredients Friday. 41 Action News investigator Jessica McMaster is here with what you uncovered, Jess.
Yeah, Mike, today we confirmed that OSHA and the EPA were back out there at the scene again today of this chemical mix-up. And just moments ago, I spoke with Atchison's emergency manager, who told me the last person injured on Friday is now back home.
Just 3 days after a chemical spill in Atchison sent more than 100 people to the hospital, investigators are working to uncover how an employee of MGP Ingredients could have inadvertently combined the two hazardous chemicals that left a plume of smoke over this small town. While it's not clear if or when MGP Ingredients will be fined for the incident, the 41 Action News investigators discovered this isn't the first scare that's come from an error at the facility. Earlier this year, an explosion blew out the wall of one of the warehouses. In March, the EPA slapped MGP with a $6,000 fine for violating the Clean Air Act. And perhaps the worst incident so far appears to be from 2002, when alcohol vapors escaped from a manhole that was left open by mistake, resulting in an explosion that sent 2 construction workers to the hospital with chemical burns. OSHA fined MGP $40,000 for 12 violations that were found in that case. If any violations are found in this latest round of investigations, it could cost MGP significantly more. In August, OSHA upped its penalty for serious violations by about $5,000 per violation.
There's been another mass shooting in America, this time in a